based on Curtin University, and I'm basically software engineer, a member of the Desert Fireball network team. This is the logo of our group. Well, the goal of our project is to search for meteorites in this area, like desert, Nullarbor, and Australian outback. And we built this network of cameras to photograph the night sky and process the images from these cameras and then actually find the rock photographed by the network. I will start with a little bit of theory. It's a bit different topic than the radio astronomy. We are talking about meteoroid, which is kind of rock, chunk of asteroid or whatever that is flying in the solar system. Then it gets to a stage of meteor. That's what you see on the on this image. That's the luminous part of the flight. It has also some other names. Shooting star is a typical name for the faint, fast meteors. Fireball is a large one, and bonnet is a very large one that can be visible even during the daytime. The principle of finding out where the observed event landed, or what was the trajectory of the meteor, is observation from two or more geographically distinct locations. We triangulate we perform triangulation calculation based on these images. We analyze it, put in the weather model to find out what was the behavior of the rock in the dark flight, because after this luminous flight is between the height of about 120 kilometers to 30-40 kilometers based on the size and angle of entry to the atmosphere. And then from those 30-40 kilometers, if there is some terminal mass left, the rock basically free falls and it's dragged by the stratospheric and atmospheric winds. So we have to run the weather model on a computer, and this influence is quite significant. It can move the rock up to 10 kilometers, and it's not in one way. It can go in the space like this way and back, and it's actually quite significant thing. And when if we think that it's a good case of a possible fall, we organize a search trip and collect the meteorite. So we have here three similar terms: meteorite, meteoroid, that's the rock in the space; meteor, that's the quick event in the atmosphere; and meteorite, that's the rock which we found on the ground. And why we are doing all this? It's because we are trying to collect some extraterrestrial rocks as samples from the solar system. These rocks are quite old, and there is several types of meteorites. Basically, it's stony meteorites. This is the oldest ones, which is the original formed rock from the nebula, which was here before the sun and planets were formed. And then there is three subtypes of melted and metamorphed or rocks which undergone metamorphosis. Achondrite is a stony melted meteor. Stony irons are mixed stony and iron, and pure ironies are basically from the core of the larger bodies in the solar system, like some old planets possibly broken down, and larger asteroids. This is a slice of one meteorite of the oldest type, and these roundy shapes, that's called condyles. That gives it a name chondrite, and these pieces of rock are basically almost as old as the sun, so pretty the oldest thing you can hold actually in your hand. So before there were some ideas about building a desert fireball network, there is quite a long history of this way of observing the sky and finding meteors and meteorites. It all started in late 50s in the Czech Republic with can you hear me? Is that okay? Yeah. It just feels different when I was standing apart. Yeah. So at the beginning there were manually operated film cameras. Then in late 90s, we started to develop automated film cameras, and nowadays, about some 3-4 years ago, started the development and deployment of digital cameras that will slowly replace those film cameras. This manual operated cameras were run actually for probably more than 40 years in the Central European fireball network, and using not this is the latest type of or model of manual camera with some processors. I don't have any images, unfortunately. Was captured first meteor simultaneously observed by 2 stations, and it was quite happily triangulated and eventually found the meteorite, and it was the first case of this kind ever. Until about some, I would say, year 2000, there was just about 5-6 cases of such an event and rock collection, and then during last 10 years there are about 10 more. So far there is only about 15 of meteorites with known orbit, so it's observation of the meteor. These manual cameras were run in times when the human work was not that expensive as today, and the operator had to replace the film manually. Here is the tray. He had to remove the cover, and this is like a box to protect the camera from the rain, and it was basically run mostly at the meteorological stations where observers had to report every hour the state of the weather, so they were doing this on top of their normal work. So then the next generation was automated film cameras. About in 1997 there were first ideas to design this sort of device at the Czech Astronomical Institute in Ondřejov. In 1999 started the design and development based on their specification. That's about the time when I joined this type of project as a software developer. So I have through the years coded the control software of this film cameras, and it's actually running up to now. In 2001 we finished the first prototype, and since 2009 There is 15 cameras built in Europe, and it's 13 stations, 2 spare cameras, because there is a lot of mechanical parts, and from time to time something breaks, so they need servicing. But even that from 2001, after some modifications, is still running pretty strong. About in 2002, a chap named Phil Bland has learned about this automated film cameras, and he, at that time and before he was coming to Western Australia to walk in Nullarbor and search for meteorites, just random meteorites that are there able to spot and find. He wanted actually to install similar sort of camera in Nullarbor, because there is much better conditions for both observation. There is a much higher percentage of clear sky, and also the ground is much more suitable for searching rather than forests and lakes and hills and mountains in Europe. So in 2003 we built and installed first prototype of modified film camera at Hampton Hill, which is about 30 km east of Kalgoorlie, and it worked pretty well. So a year later Phil Bland ordered 3 more cameras, so eventually we had 3 stations in 2005 and 4 in 2007. And all these cameras are still sitting in Nullarbor and working. Actually, we switched to the mode of operation, then we have 3 running and 1 spare in Perth. And this is the location of those 4 cameras. They are about 150 kilometers apart, which is the optimal distance to overlay to be able to observe the same event from more cameras. And this shape here, that's the Nullarbor plain. That's the countryside, as you have seen on the first slide. With respect to the digital cameras, that's quite a recent thing. They are based on PC-controlled DSLR cameras, common off-the-shelf cameras with full-size sensor, and I will provide details on these below. Now there is a couple of images how the automated film cameras look. This thing is the camera itself. It's about the size of a small fridge, and this one is quite typical installation. It's in mountains, about 1,300 meters. It's up to 2 meters of snow there, so that's why it's so high. And here you can see the main lens of the camera with covers open, and this other, this second cover is to protect the video camera and radiometer and sound detector. And because we are in Central Europe, it's pretty freezy there during the winter, so part of my work on this network in Europe when we were building it was to do service work in -5 degrees, and I'm actually standing off 1 meter of compressed snow at this thing, with a plastic bag on the monitor to protect it from falling snow. That's something I won't have these issues in Australia. It's the other way. These pictures show the cameras deployed in Nullarbor, this big one on the left, that's at Forest Airport, which is north of UCLA by the Indian Pacific Transline. And this one is Mandrabila station, that's south of Forest, a little bit to the west. And this is how the group of people installing or servicing cameras look like after a week spent in Nullarbor. So it's like driving on bumpy roads and being dirty and no option how to wash or take a shower. And this small image shows a little bit of insides of the camera with the stainless cover removed. So it's a lot of moving parts inside, and I will show later the block diagram of the camera. So here we go. It's pretty close to industrial robot or that sort of device. It's controlled by industrial PC. Please mind that it's designed from about 2000, 2001. So the oldest cameras are based on Pentium 1 PC, and the later ones have a bit more powerful CPUs. That's not because we would need more power. The functionality basically is still the same, but because of those PC boards were no longer available. That's a big of issue with running these long duration projects. If you expand and build more devices of the same kind, you fall into this sort of problems that some hardware is not available. In case of industrial components, it's a bit better. They usually stay available 3 to 5 years, but with the commercial products, it's even less than 1 year, so it's a big issue. So,
you mentioned the microphone.
Yeah.
When they're screaming through the atmosphere, do they actually make a cracking sound, or are you listening for a crash of an impact or something?
Yeah, that's a good question. They make, if it's a big thing, they make quite a significant sonic boom in the atmosphere. Probably you have heard about that Chelyabinsk fireball. The actual sonic boom and the sonic wave was that strong that it broke glass in windows in half of the city. And people were actually staring at what's on the sky, and a couple of minutes later they were still staring, and they got hit from the broken glass. So there was a lot of injuries at that. So that's because of this, and this provides the scientists with some additional information on top of the visual observation. So far, it was not much useful for the fireball network, but it was included in the design, and it's actually running in all of these film cameras. So there is back to the design. There is quite a lot of mechanical parts. It's taking images on films. It's not like a roll of a film. But there is a revolving magazine with plates. Each plate holds one film, and camera needs one film per one night. And there is 32 positions in the magazine, so it is able to run more than 1 month with the magazine. There is. That was cool. So then there is a film transport mechanism which opens the magazine, pulls the plate of the magazine under the main lens. Then there is a rotating shutter. That's an important component which allow us to chop the luminous flight, and thanks to that we are able to determine the velocity of the fireball and change of the velocity during the flight. Obviously there is fisheye lens. That means that it's an all sky 180-degree view of the night sky. Because of that we are quite happy when we can install the camera in areas where there is no trees or buildings or that sort of stuff, because it sees basically the horizon. There is lens covers that you have already seen on the image, and for the desert cameras there is a sun shield. That's the big flat thing that covers the camera during the day to prevent it from heat. Yeah.
So I assume you mostly taking photos at night.
Yeah, only during the night. Yeah.
Okay, so you know, how much cloud cover is there during the night in that part of the Nullarbor?
Our experience is that cameras operate about 80% of the time. Yeah, so that it's at least partly clear sky to be worth to run the exposures. And the camera contains a couple of other sensors, so both for the film and the digital as well. The camera start exposure only if the sky is clear enough. And these film cameras have also a precipitation detector, which activates opening the cover of the covers. Another component is microcontroller, which runs all the time, while the PC is running only during the night. During the daytime, it's powered off, and camera is in sleep mode to preserve some not memory power, and also to protect the components from the heat. There is this unit controls the heating, cooling, and there is also wake-up timer. We have the UPS unit. It does not have that much sense in case of the solar power because that's independent, but we run these cameras also from mains. Mostly in Europe is run from mains power, and there are blackouts, and we do not want the camera to stay open in case of storm coming and blackout and then rain coming to the camera. So the UPS provides enough capacity to safely close the camera, which takes less than 10 minutes. Connection to the internet is through GSM in the Europe or through Ethernet. In Nullarbor we use two-way satellite connection. That's the technology we used at the beginning. Nowadays, especially along the trans line, there is pretty good Telstra coverage, so we are switching to Telstra 3G or NextG or whatever they call it, which is cheaper and it has much better response rather than geostationary satellite connection. Another important sensor is radiometer, which is based on photomultiplier. It's pretty sensitive thing that is providing overall signal, brightness signal of the sky. And from this sensor we get a light curve that helps us to find the exact time of the event, because on the film we see just an image and it was taken during the night sometimes, and we need to know the exact time with precision better than 1 second, and for some calculations like fragmentation of the rock, it's good to have even better timing. And also it's good for matching the observation from several cameras. The light curve gives pretty good matching of the timing. And that video camera that I have shown on the image on the photo, that's there for a cloudiness sensor. It's basically security video camera, highly sensitive, and we process the video stream and count stars, and if there is more than defined level of number of stars, then we start the exposure on film. This slide shows the software architecture. I'm here at Linux conference, so a little bit of the Linux software and technologies used. It's a pretty old thing. The Mark I cameras are based on Red Hat 7.3 distribution. That was quite a popular one. The early development was even on kernel 2.2. Later, we upgraded it to this version of Red Hat with 2.4. It's slightly modified with patches for NTP to use the PPS precise timing. So we have better than 1 microsecond time with GPS reception in the system. Other common technologies are NTP for time, SS secure shell for connection and for transfer of files, rsync, and the video library is v4l. That's probably quite stuff you know pretty well. For the UPS in the Mark I is used software provided by APC that works quite well. Later they stopped support Linux, so we used another package. The I/O is the digital I/O is done directly through memory mapping, and this Mark I camera used plain ISA bus, which is nowadays not available even in industrial PCs. The main software packages, the exposure control software and the software for communication with the microcontroller unit are daemons executed by the System 5 init scripts, and this software is the largest package. It has many threads, about 15 threads running in parallel timing. Each sensor of those precipitation detector or radiometer, all these sensors have own thread, and that's synchronized and controlling the whole instrument. It creates one detailed log for each night, and if there is some problem detected, it sends emails to list of email addresses. That sounds pretty obvious now, but keep in mind that it's a system designed in 1999, and basically as it was designed with little modifications, it's still running, and it's 15 years. This is a Mark II camera. We had to, or I had to change the software because some of the hardware was no longer available. There were no ISA cards, so we changed to PCI digital I/O cards, and also the video grabber was no longer available, and new video grabber was not supported by the old kernel, so I had to rewrite a lot of the software, and I have chosen this CentOS distribution based on which is actually derivative or clone of the Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So now we get to the film cameras network. This upper part is showing the blue cold northern hemisphere network. In the middle there is a server and scientific team processing the data, and down here is the desert fireball network of film cameras as it was running in the past. So it's 4 automated cameras. The films has to be collected manually using human power, but logs and other information like radiometer data curves, that is data that can be collected through the internet. The cameras produce, I would say, some 20 gigabytes of data. It's basically radiometer records a year. So once for a time, someone has to go there with laptop and download this data and bring it to the server because the data connection is not fast enough to download all the data. In the European network, they have 1 magazine for each camera, so they come regularly to all the stations and they change the exposed films with blank ones, and they do this like in a month cycle for all the cameras. In the Nullarbor network, there is 2 magazines for each camera, and one is in the camera and the other one is on the way to Perth. It's sent by the trans line, so the train actually stops because it picks up this box with the magazine. It's shipped to Perth, there is developed, and the films are sent to Europe to Czech scientists to analyze them, and if there is something nice on the images, they let us know, and we organize a search trip. This is how look the image from the film camera. You can see the stars are not dots, but trails, because the lens does not move. It's not like telescope which turns itself following the stars. And this bright thing is a moon. This is pretty nice bright night with a couple of stops in the exposure. So this looks like it was cloudy here or whatever. And this thing here, which goes across all the arcs, is actual fireball. And here's the zoomed image of it, and you can see the chops that's done by the rotating shutter I have mentioned before. This is another image from the Nullarbor network. This was actually quite important one because it was the first search for a meteorite in Australia. The initial mass or first search for the meteorite captured by the network, the initial mass was estimated to 50 kilos, velocity to 13 kilometers per second, and it was predicted that there will be a couple of fragments between 100 and 250 grams. It was quite hard to process this event because it was low by the horizon, and the image or the data is quite compressed by the horizon because of the geometry of the lens. Even the chopping is not really well visible in this one, but eventually the Czech guys did a good job with this one, and they calculated the orbit. That's the red ellipse, and it was quite an extraordinary one. Usually meteorites cross the Earth orbit and they come from the main asteroid belt, but this one was already traveling inside the Earth orbit mostly, and it was even crossing the Venus orbit. And here's the recovery. The first bit was 150 grams and the second one 174, and both of them were found closer than 100 meters from the predicted fall line. And it was named Bambara Rock Hole. Meteorites are named by the closest geographical thing which has a name. So that's something, I don't know, probably some collapsed cave. That's the only thing you can actually see in Nullarbor, otherwise it's just a plane and nothing. And it's also quite interesting from the geological point of view. The geological composition is quite unique. Not really common. It's not common stony, common irony meteor. So now I'm getting to the digital cameras. At the beginning, the idea was to build so-called triggered systems that would have the video capture card with continuously running detection of movement as a main optical telescope, and that would capture the beginning of the trajectory, and it would with some delay of less than half second fire a sequence of high-speed, high-resolution all-sky images using the best available common off-the-shelf DSLR, which is Canon 1D, that one that's used for sport photography. So it does not have that much megapixels, but it's pretty fast, and it can take up to, I think, 11 full quality raw images per second. So that would actually be our solution for the rotating shutter. It turned out that this design is quite complicated, namely from the software point of view, because it was based on Windows and UFO capture software, which is available on Windows only. And the UFO capture software is obviously not open source, so we can't modify it as we need it. So instead of triggering some simple signal inside the computer, like setting up a shared memory variable, it beeps, and when it beeps, this is digitalized by a sound card, and that actually goes to a microcontroller, and that fires the camera. So it's quite, this sort of design. Yeah, but it worked somehow. So as long as there is no pure Linux solution or some more elegant solution of this problem, we had put this as a side design, and we concentrated on long exposure cameras that work similarly as the film cameras, just there is not one exposure per whole night, because CCDs are way more sensitive. The films used in the film cameras are black and white, and they have sensitivity 120 ISO, while with the today's DSLRs, we can pretty well run at 3200 or 6400 based on whether it's night with moon or without moon. So we designed Mark I camera and built 4 of them and these guys were running in Nullarbor for about half a year. First one was installed, I think, in February 2013, and we collected them in October 2013. The concept has proven to be quite good. We have modified the design a little bit, and today we have 10 Mark II cameras built, 5 of them deployed, 4 replaced those Mark I, and 1 is at the moment running at Nordham as a part of the semi-outreach project, because we would like to install these cameras also in the wheat belt, basically at the roof of the local schools, high schools or primary schools, and we would like to involve teachers to use images from these cameras for teaching, so they will have access to the data by connecting through Wi-Fi or whatever, Ethernet cable with laptop. And by the end of 2014, we would like to have at least 25 cameras in total deployed in Western Australia, and eventually it should be 50 cameras in Australia. We would like to expand to South Australia as well, and hopefully also 10 in the desert parts of USA. And the third type of camera, that's at the stage of thought at the moment only, but the software is coded in Linux, in C, Python, and quite common code base. So we would like to provide some modules of this software or to release it online and provide the enthusiasts that are interested in these astronomy projects with PCBs with microcontroller and the basic electronics, and these people then can build their own cameras. They would buy whatever recommended DSLR and enclosure, and they would share the data with the network, and if there is some event captured by the kid camera or user camera, there would be obviously invited to participate on the search trip, and that's also a part of the outreach thing of the project. So eventually, the dream is to have, quite few of cameras in WA and South Australia, and mostly in the interior of the continent. So we will see how it goes. This is image of the Mark I camera as it was deployed at Canada Station. You can possibly see this, like one top third of the box is the DSLR itself, and down there is a PCB with electronics and small PC controlling it. This is a battery, roughly the same size and capacity as a diesel car battery, and this flat thing is solar panel. So the idea was that it will be able to run autonomously with less than square meter solar panel and one battery, and this stand can be just put on the ute and moved anywhere we need. So it would be easy to deploy it. The Mark I camera was based on eBox PC running Debian Linux, and we used this Vortex 86 CPU for the first type, I've heard that it was used also for some in some other talk. It's used in the radio astronomy project as well to control something in the MWA, I think, or the Vortex CPU. The advantage of this CPU or this PC is that it has pretty low power consumption. It's about 5 watts, including a laptop hard drive. On the other hand, it's not much powerful. Besides of the PC, there is again microcontroller, which is Leo stick. That's Arduino compatible. Memory stick size microcontroller, and that controls or actually triggers the shutter based on GPS time. So the DSLR camera is triggered not by the PC but by the microcontroller, and the exposure time for this Mark I camera was 15 seconds. Later we changed it to 30 seconds. It also powers on the DSLR, which is powered on only during the nighttime. On the other hand, the PC box and the microcontroller is running all the time, even during the day. And there is a lens for this camera. We have used a Nikon D800E, which is a version of D800 with the anti-aliasing filter not actually removed but eliminated by another added filter, as we have learned eventually. And the lens is Nikon 10.5 millimeter fisheye for those who are interested in photography. That's pretty compact, small fisheye lens, f/2.8. And there is 3G modem for internet connection, but we have run these Mark I cameras mostly on the sides of film cameras, so they used the existing satellite connection. And to store the data collected, there is 1 terabyte internal drive. System is on SD card, which is the card slot is built in the PC. And 1 terabyte is not too much. That would be enough for about 1 month or a bit more. So we have added there a network storage with two 2 terabyte drives.
We might have to wrap up soon, so can you just skip to the
Yeah. Okay. So with these Mark I cameras, we had a couple of issues that we have that led us to modify the design. The 3G modems are basically consumables, so they keep locking, so we need to reboot all the PC by cold reboot to keep them running continuously. The eBox CPU performance was slow, so we upgraded to Atom CPU, and we had some concerns about the SD card reliability as the system drive, so we replaced it as the SSDs. That have also better temperature range, and we changed the mechanical design as well, and we moved the external hard drive box into the camera box. And I've actually brought the Mark II camera here. It's this one. So after I finish my talk, you can come and have a look. How does it look physically? So that's one of these. This is the most recent installation with a new design of stand, which is about 2 meters high to be above the dust blown by the wind. And this all is laser cut, 5 millimeter thin, and there is not used any bolt. It's all I don't know what's the word for that. You just use hammer to knock it in. Yeah, probably. Sorry for my English. Actually, deployment of this stand is about 20 minutes. This is the schematic of the Mark II camera. Possibly I will skip it. The most important change is that there is a video camera as well with fisheye lens, and that allows us to record the video as well. We compress this video, and at the moment we are just saving it, but we would like to run some event detection on it as well. The performance of the CPU allows us to process the data in the camera, so we can detect events not on the fly during the night when the images are captured, but during the day, the next day. The software architecture, well, where do I need to stop?
Yeah, if you just can wrap it up and show like maybe some of the photos and
okay.
the final results and things. Yeah.
So this is typical image from the Mark I camera with a nice fireball. You can see Milky Way here. This is another fireball that looks a bit strange. It's pretty green, and it created some dust thing, which happens from time to time. And this image is shot with higher sensitivity ISO setup than the other one. The network of 60 cameras will eventually cover probably 1/3 of the Australian continent, and we expect that we should be able to have about 15 searchable meteorites a year, so we will be able to choose the nice ones or the larger ones where is the better probability to actually find them. The title of the slide is Heaps of Data. Well, it's 45 megabytes image every 30 seconds, 800 images a night, so it's about 10 terabytes from camera a year. It's not that much as the radio astronomy projects before, but this is also not billions-dollar project, it's $1 million project, and it's run by basically 3 technical guys and not by hundreds or maybe thousands of people. So it's quite a lot of data for us, about 500 terabytes a year from the network. So we store them in camera. Each camera can run for at least half a year autonomously. We are actually interested in about 1% of data. So we could easily delete all the data that does not contain any detected fireballs, but we think that this data might be interested for some other astronomers or other scientists. So we were thinking where to put this data or what to do with them. We didn't want to delete them. Fortunately, there is the outback data store, so we are in cooperation with these guys, and we can use the outback data store up to volume of hundreds of terabytes, and possibly this number will enlarge during the time. So we would like to keep 1 year of full data in a raw format, and if our room data storage is limited, we can easily extract JPEGs from which are embedded in the raw files, and that reduces the volume of the data to less than 10%. So the earlier years would be just JPEGs. This is the infrastructure of the network, cameras, workstation, in our office, outreach web and databases, housekeeping database for running the network, data catalog, and all the database or the data store containing all the high-res images, and the most valuable part of the database is the event catalog that will be the actual detected fireball events.
Martin, I think we're getting close.
Yeah.
We might have to wrap it up. Can you
Yeah.
maybe, we can put your slides set online, and maybe just talk about the website and where people can get
Mm-hmm. Maybe this one is quite good as well. That's about the thing that the data, well, it might actually attract attention of some people around. The little bit of quality of the images, the seeing in outback is pretty good. On the last trip we were able to see that Venus cast shadows on the ground. So with this seeing, if we stuck 5 minutes, we get 7, maybe 8 magnitude vision. That's better than what human eye sees. And with the geographical spread of the network, we should be able to have 100% coverage of the night sky, all sky, and during all the year. So that means on the Earth orbit around the Sun. So that's also some sort of value. And this is an example of what we have spotted in the in the camera's data. It's Nova Delphinus that was discovered by Japanese astronomer, amateur astronomer, and we went back with through the images of one of our cameras, and this is the Nova at the brightest point, and this is about the time when that guy discovered it, and we were able to spot it as even a little bit before. So that's just a proof that the data has some value also outside of the meteor physics. We have a website of the group. There is news, images, and all the information about the group of the people. And also we have ordered the development of a smartphone app to that is free for download, and people who are interested can use it to report fireballs or meteors observed whenever at the world, and these reports go to a database, and we don't think we would be able to search for meteorites using these reports, but possibly we could estimate at least the orbit in the solar system. And that's basically all. So thank you.